Are you faced with the question of, I don't know what the fuck I want to do? Or even, I don't know how to get there? Well, I'm going to help you out. So keep watching. Hi guys. For those who are new to my channel or don't know me, my name is Pooja and I'm pursuing a PhD in geology. The details of that research I'll likely go over in later videos, as well as other things in my life. But in this particular video series, I would like to provide insight on my graduate school experience, as well as show you some resources that I'm aware about that may help you figure out what type of career that you want. So you finished your bachelor's degree. Now what? Some of you intend on going to grad school. Some of you don't. I'm here to tell you basically what your options are. So I do want to start by saying that it is not impossible to get a career just with your bachelor's degree. In fact, I encourage those who are wanting to get field experience and become a professional geologist to go ahead and do that and look for opportunities. I do want to say that there are some licensures that you should probably look into that I will link below in the description. But for the purpose of this video, I am going to go into grad school options for those looking into that program. So I'm going to start with the master's. Master programs are typically comprised of 2 to 3 years of study. And in choosing a master's program, you have an option of 2 things in STEM. Typically, it's a thesis or a non-thesis track. Non-thesis really depends on your institution, but generally speaking, non-thesis options are tailored for those who simply don't want to do a lot of research training and want to do more focus on advanced coursework, lab work, seminars, and taking on semester projects in order to obtain a more fundamental understanding of a specific field of study. Non-thesis master's students tend to immediately go into industry, whatever they might look like in your field. It is generally harder for you to obtain funding for your education, and you may likely need to take on additional loans unless you're able to get an assistantship, like a teaching assistantship or a work study. You should expect similar tuition and fee costs as to undergraduate programs for your graduate program if you do end up doing a non-thesis track. Now for the thesis option for a master's degree. I highly recommend this path, and there are many reasons for that. First, it is a way to educate your schooling while conducting a research project. This funding can come from your school, from your advisor, or from a company that you work for, and they will pay for your education as you conduct research for them. The second reason why you want to do thesis option is because you want to get a PhD, but the institution that you want to go to or the advisor that you want to work for requires that you get your master's first. And then third is you are undecided if a PhD is right for you, but you still want to do research and get that type of experience to see if a PhD is right for you. So typically, masters of geology go into the field as professional geologists, either as a principal investigator for a company or contribute to economic geology, consulting, but it's not limited to that. You can also get assistant professorships sometimes, work in museums, or even start your own company as well. So moving on to PhD, which is what I do. A PhD or Doctor of Philosophy is that you are awarded a doctorate based off your original research that has never been shown before. You complete a dissertation that is approved by your committee, and the committee is just a board or group of professors that is either pre-assigned to you or you can pick. Again, it depends on your institution. It's a less rigid structure as a master's in a sense that it can take anywhere from 4 to 8 years. This wide time frame depends on if you come in with a master's already, your knowledge of your field, if you are in COVID, in a pandemic, all these other things. Generally speaking, the path to a PhD comprises of the first few years being more coursework focused, lab work focused, and literature review, as well as developing your framework for your scientific research. In those first 2 years or so, You will also want to get to know your department so you can figure out who you want to be on your committee, and know what resources and labs are available to you. Then in your later years, sorry, you'll have settled in on a research topic, a lab, a research group, and you will be working on your thesis. This is basically coming up with a question, a testable hypothesis, executing methods that you would like to use, and develop a conclusion from that. Think of it as like a really, really, really long and extensive peer-reviewed science project from elementary school. It's essentially the same thing, but more involved. And instead of your elementary school teachers and parent committee evaluating your work, you quite literally have professionals and aspects of your field that critique your work and critically examine what you have done. I encourage for those looking into PhD programs to request graduate handbooks from that institution for that specific course of study. Generally speaking, what I just stated, a lot of things will fall into that, but it's good to know the details of that program and the time frame that they want you to complete things. So after a PhD, many will immediately start a postdoctoral fellowship, which can last between 1 to 5 years. Postdocs it's usually a time for you to refine your skills as a scientist in your field and even delve further into your PhD research. From there, you can go into academia as an assistant professor and work your way up to tenure, maybe even become a dean of students. So that is the academic track. Postdoc or not, though, people with PhDs can also pursue industry-based positions. You can join a research entity. You can also join things like the United States Geologic Survey, Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service, et cetera, or take the opportunity to become a principal investigator for companies that are looking for research geologists. Now, I would get into the nitty-gritty of the numbers game, but because STEM, and especially the geosciences, is such a diverse set of disciplines, it really depends on what you ultimately do and what your opportunities are. It also depends on your circumstances as well. Do you have prior debt? Do you have dependents that you're relying on? What is your living situation? What are your state taxes? All these things can kind of influence the type of income you make in graduate school and after graduate school. I will say this, however, doing a thesis track graduate degree program gives you the opportunity to fund your education. For my case, tuition is paid for, I get healthcare, and I get a monthly stipend. It's not that great. Most institutions provide about $20,000 to $30,000 a year, depending on the cost of living, and about 1 or 2% of that will go back to the institution to cover fees and books. So with that, I really hope this information helps those who are considering graduate programs, especially in STEM. There are also many other things to consider, like what your 5-year plan is, your desired income and lifestyle, and so on and so forth. I want to reiterate that only you know where your true passion lies. As for me, since childhood, I've always wanted to ask questions and seek answers, and I'm just, generally speaking, a very curious person, and I want to know how things work. And I enjoy the freedom a PhD gives me in exercising my scientific endeavor. Okay, so I hope this video really helped those who are looking into graduate programs decide what they want to do. If you have any other questions or want to see other content, please put some comments below, like my channel. I hope that I can get some following so I can make better videos and just give better advice. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.